There's a moment in every meaningful life where someone realizes that the person on the other side of the argument isn't actually trying to win. They're trying to get a reaction. It might be a coworker who keeps making little digs in meetings, a parent who knows exactly which sentence will unravel you at Sunday dinner, a partner who starts fights on Wednesdays because Wednesdays are when they feel powerless somewhere else, a friend who tests you with backhanded compliments and watches your face to see if the poison landed. It's not always malicious, sometimes it's completely unconscious, but the mechanism is the same. They say something, you flinch, and in that flinch, a very quiet transaction happens. They take something from you, and they don't have to give anything back. That transaction is what most people spend their entire lives inside of, and the day they finally see it clearly is the day the ground shifts under their feet permanently. Because here's the thing, no one tells you about reactions. A reaction isn't just an emotional response. It's a piece of information. It's a receipt. When someone says something designed to hurt you, and your face changes, or your voice goes up, or you fire back, or you shut down, you have just handed them a very detailed report on what works. You've shown them the exact button. You've told them the exact pressure needed to push it. And, most importantly, you've confirmed that the button is real, that it still functions, that it can be pressed again next Tuesday. This is the machinery that keeps difficult people in your life powerful, not their words, your receipts. And once you understand that, you start to notice something almost unbelievable. The people who seem impossible to control, the ones nobody can rattle, the ones who walk through insults like they're walking through fog, aren't stronger than you. They're not smarter. They haven't achieved some monk-like transcendence. They've just stopped issuing receipts. That's the whole trick. Watch what happens in a room when someone tries to provoke a genuinely unreactive person. The first attempt lands on nothing. The provoker adjusts, tries a sharper angle. That one lands on nothing too. By the third try, something visible starts happening, but not to the target, to the provoker. Their face changes, their voice tightens, they start over-explaining. They start reaching for bigger and bigger weapons, and each one disappears into the same quiet. And within about 90 seconds, an inversion has occurred that they didn't consent to. They came in looking to extract a reaction. Now they're the one being watched. Now they're the one performing, and they can feel it, and they can't stop it, and they hate it. That's what non-reaction actually is. It isn't passivity, it isn't weakness, it's a refusal to participate in a game whose rules require your participation to function. The reason this is so hard to learn is that reacting feels like power. It feels like defending yourself. It feels like standing up. The whole culture teaches you that the person who fires back is the strong one, and the person who stays quiet is the doormat. But that framing is exactly what keeps people trapped. Because in almost every real interaction, the person losing control of themselves is the one giving away power, and the person staying calm is the one accumulating it. The volume gets it backward. The volume makes you think the loud one is winning. Look at their eyes instead. The loud one is almost always the one who needed something and didn't get it. And here's the harder part. The people who provoke you aren't always villains. Sometimes they're people you love. Sometimes they're people who love you back and don't know why they keep doing this. Because provocation, at its core, is a bid for contact. It's someone saying, in the only language they know, I need to feel like I matter to you, and I don't know how to ask, so I'm going to poke you until you prove it. That's a huge part of what happens in families, in marriages, in friendships that have gone a little sour. The provoker isn't necessarily trying to hurt you, they're trying to confirm they can still move you. And every time you react, you confirm it, which soothes them for about 6 minutes. And then they need to check again. This is why reacting doesn't fix these dynamics. It feeds them. Every reaction is a small deposit into an account the other person is addicted to withdrawing from. And the only way the account ever closes is if the deposits stop. Now, the moment you actually try this, actually stop reacting, something disorienting happens. You'll expect to feel powerful. You won't at first. You'll feel almost sick. Because reactions aren't just given to others, they're also how you discharge the feeling inside yourself. When someone insults you and you snap back, part of what's happening is that you're getting the pain out of your body by throwing it at them. If you stop doing that, the pain doesn't disappear. It stays inside you. It sits there. It has to be metabolized instead of ejected, and that's uncomfortable in a way most people are not prepared for. This is the part almost every teacher of this idea skips. They tell you not to react, and they make it sound noble and easy. It is neither. Non-reaction is a physical skill. It requires that you be able to sit with a feeling in your chest for the 90 seconds it takes to pass through you, without needing to do anything with it. That's the actual muscle, not the calm face. The calm face is easy. Anyone can fake a calm face. The muscle is what's happening under the face, the willingness to feel the full sting of what was said and choose not to move, not because you're numb, but because you've decided that this particular fire doesn't get to become a bonfire. People who develop this muscle report the same strange side effect. Their relationships either transform or end. There's rarely a middle path, because a lot of relationships, it turns out, were being held together entirely by the reactive dance. Once you stop dancing, the other person has to either learn a new way of relating to you or leave. Some rise to it. They discover, sometimes for the first time, what it's like to talk to you without the theater. Others can't. They spiral, they escalate, they accuse you of being cold, they claim you've changed. And they're right, you have. The version of you who could be controlled by a well-placed sentence is gone. And whoever needed that version to stay in your life is going to have to grieve them. That's the cost nobody warns you about. Non-reactivity doesn't just take power away from the people trying to control you. It takes them away from you, sometimes. Because a lot of intimacy, in unhealthy relationships, was actually just reactivity in a costume. Remove the reactivity, and there's less to hold on to than either of you thought. That's painful. It's also honest. And honest pain heals in a way that dishonest closeness never does. There's one last piece, and it's the piece that changes everything. Non-reaction isn't cold. That's the misunderstanding that keeps people from ever trying it. They picture a stone-faced person, arms crossed, unreachable. That's not what this is. That's suppression, which is a different thing, and suppression will eventually explode. Real non-reactivity is warm. It's a person who can hear a cruel sentence, feel the full weight of it, look the other person calmly in the eye, and respond, or not respond, from choice instead of injury. It's a softness that comes from a very hard-won interior stability. It doesn't say, "You can't hurt me." It says, "You can hurt me, and I've decided that hurting me will not decide what I do next." That's a completely different posture, and people can feel the difference across a room. That's the person nobody can control. Not because they've built walls, because they've built a floor. A floor so solid that when someone throws something at them, they don't have to catch it. It can just land on the ground and lie there, unclaimed, and eventually the person who threw it will have to walk over and pick it back up themselves. And once you've built that floor, once, in any relationship, you can never quite unbuild it. You'll walk into old dynamics and feel the tug of the old dance and just not dance. And the room will feel it. And you'll know, in a quiet, unspectacular way, that something inside you has changed that no one can take back. That's the moment the sentence points at. Not a moment of triumph. Not a moment of revenge, just a very quiet Tuesday where someone says the thing that used to break you, and you notice, with a kind of gentle surprise, that it doesn't anymore. And they notice too, and neither of you says a word about it. But from that day forward, the game you were playing together is over.